is from a chapter called Olga Passes. It deals with Olga's death. But I incorporated a poem into this chapter called Midwifery about the death of my own mother. Because when my mother died, after Olga died, I went down and spent time with her and had a sense that she was floating outside of her body and was aware of me, even though she seemed kind of out of consciousness most of the time. And I was aware of her just sort of up in the ceiling, floating, looking down at the whole thing. And so I wanted to write about that. Midwifery. When my mother tripped the light fantastic, I stood as midwife, called words that released her as she hovered a while above my head, listening as I spoke to the silent bed frame. She dressed herself in syllables, redressed in a bed of vowels, watched my brother circle the room's narrowing square. All was clear to her now, for nothing could separate the love-filled. A pair of freckled arms led her out to the Christ, an amber man on a soft divan who whispered, "The place of your deepest resistance is the place of your deepest healing." And those last lines were given to me at the time as my mother was going. And the passage I read from her, she was a Christian, and one of her favorite gospels was the Gospel of John, and it was kind of a mystical passage from John, partly about the Word and so on. And I was reading that, and it seemed to calm her when she was kind of in and out of consciousness. Now, I've got two more poems, and then we'll open it to open mic soon. So I'm eager to hear from those of you who I hope all of you will come up and read. This one shows that Olga was very, what we now call InterSpiritual. She was interested in other religions, studied them, and I think the poem is self-explanatory, but it's based on a vision. I don't call it a dream because her dreams were so intense, I call them visions that she had. And again, later, I had a similar experience. So I feel that when you're in the presence of someone who's very advanced like that, they almost are a catalyst to you. It's not that you're just being, influenced, you have that because they did, but something in you, something about their presence, more than just what they say or what they teach, but their actual presence is elevating. So I do miss that, but I have had dreams of Olga since, and a sense of her continuing happiness that her story is getting out. Even guidance that is getting into the right hands. This one is called Just the Other Night, and it's from a chapter called InterSpiritual Conferencing. Just the other night, I saw Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad on a tufted slope overlooking a city, which could have been Jerusalem or Istanbul, sharing coffee in brown stoneware mugs they had shaped from Earth's sweet coffers. And none of them was preaching or arguing with the others about anything, because they were tracking the course of a small black ant, struggling to attain a crest of its own choosing. How to help without interfering was all their concern, and admiration of the rich soil which cupped them, beautiful shards against a sea-dropped sky. Thank you. And this is the last poem. At the very end of her life, in phone conversations to the 98-year-old friend of mine, Pauline Mowat, who lives in Victoria and who's I still visit regularly, Olga would phone Pauline and share with her over the phone thoughts about the mystical tradition of the I Am, ultimate being. And you may, if you've studied Hinduism or anything, there's the small self, which is sort of like the ego. And then the large self, or Brahman, which is like who you are when you're united at one with everything, where you're in a state of unitive being. So she was exploring this question of who am I, which is one of the fundamental spiritual questions, isn't it? Who am I? Where am I going? What's the meaning of life? And this is called Prayer of Opening, and I'm closing with a prayer of opening. I am body, soul, and spirit, and I am that builds this body, and is me, but not me, in the beginning, that is always beginning. So I honor this body, from which I am is never separate, until I consign my solar system of cells and nerves to the sea, from which I am comes again, making me and all that is over and over new, from a mind of endless surprise. When the little self that has served me so well slumbers and sleeps, the great I am opens its eye, casting its nameless name into the world. I am silent, unimposing to the outer eye, effective in thought and speech, atomic in compassion, claiming nothing for myself out of this everything I am. Thank you very much.